Hello,
Got it.
everyone. Today I am joined by the UFC's Parker Porter. Parker, how we doing today? It's also your birthday, so happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, things are good, man.
Good. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Do you have any plans for today?
Mostly just attending my son's sporting events. They're playing both soccer and baseball this season. So we just had a baseball game this morning, and I'll be going back to the same field for a soccer game this afternoon.
Sounds awesome. Sounds awesome. I know your family is a big part of what you do. Can you just tell me a bit more about like how that family is able to push you and inspire you to just be better at fighting and just in life?
Well, I mean, my wife is a huge piece of the support component for me at home. She believes in everything that I do. She makes a lot of what I do possible by picking up a substantial amount of the slack at home for me and making it easier for me to be present as a dad, so not, like picking up on little things here, little things there, and that all add up into very large pieces. And she's super supportive in that sense. And then with my sons, all three of them, I just want to set the absolute best example for them that I can, what it means to be a good man and work hard to have good morals and ethics and put your nose to the grindstone and earn what you get.
Definitely can see that in the way you portray yourself as a father. Your kids are always in the gym with you. They're always, training with you and everything. And I know you have the 9-year-old twins. And then
Yep.
there's a younger one as well, right?
Yeah. Charlie's 2.5. So the twins will be 9 in June, or they'll be 10 in June, and Charlie will be 3 in July.
All right, nice. I always love to see, when you can bring the kids in and have them with you. I know you have your own gym and everything, so it's nice to see
Yeah.
that they're always there with you and you're able to, still have them around you even when you're training and even when you're, away and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of times, especially the twins are older now, so they know like certain times I'm like, all right, I gotta focus, I gotta
Hmm.
pay attention. Charlie gets to be, the typical toddler at times. He'll ask me like every 2 minutes during a round, like, Dad, you done? Dad, can we go home? Are you done? Can we play now? I'm like, no, no, I got more rounds. Come on, we're not done. We're just getting started. Yeah.
Yep, that's usually how the younger ones are. But
Yeah.
it's cool that they're even that they're even able to be around and that they understand that when to cool off when they need to. It's really nice.
No, it's awesome. It's been a fun experience where it's become the gym has become a place where they enjoy going just as much. We get to spend some good quality time together there.
That's really nice.
Whether we're training and actually working on our martial arts or just goofing around and having fun because we can.
That's great. That's great to hear. So you recently dropped 21 pounds in 3 weeks. Tell me a little bit about
Actually,
that.
it's actually closer to 35 now.
Okay, so you've
So,
dropped 30. So you've dropped 35 pounds now in just
yeah,
in what,
it's
four
been about
weeks?
six and a half weeks
Okay,
now.
so in about
Yeah.
6.5 weeks, you dropped 35 pounds. What are we doing? Planning to move to light heavyweight or just trying to get
No, I
somebody
mean,
here?
I'm still, even though I've dropped that much weight, I'm still walking around
No,
at
I know.
250 when I wake up in the morning. So, I was a big boy.
Yeah.
Last couple of fights, I had to cut a couple pounds to make
Mm-hmm.
heavyweight, and that's just not me. It's not who I am. It was
Okay.
just time to finally just get back to me being the much more athletic, quicker, lighter me that I know I can be. So I finally kind of buckled down, got a little more self discipline, got a great program from my wife actually, who's been super supportive as a health coach and helping me keep myself accountable, which has really made a massive difference for me. And it's just been super easy with the program she's had me on.
Yeah, so I know that you used to fight, not used to fight, you had a fight a while ago against Jon Jones at light heavyweight. So I know
Yeah.
in your past couple fights, you've been weighing in around that 260-pound mark. So I knew that you had definitely been a lot bigger than you were earlier on in your career. But then I saw you
Yep.
dropped all this weight, and I was like, okay, he's sharpening himself up. I was
Yeah.
basically, I was wondering, I didn't really think you were dropping the light heavyweight, but it's just to eliminate those weight cuts, basically, is what that's for.
To eliminate the weight cuts and really just make myself better all around. You look good, you feel good, you train better, you fight better when you train better.
Hmm.
You're more confident. Less weight. I'm quicker. It's got less dead weight slowing me down. But I'm still at that optimal size where I don't feel like I've lost any of my strength. I'm actually making strength gains still in the gym. So Yeah, it's really just about becoming more efficient and effective overall, and being a more complete package than just kind of being like, "Whoa, I'll have a couple extra beers," and that's like the pizza looks pretty tasty, you know.
Yeah,
Like I'll have an extra one of those too. So
definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
really just kind of like cracking the whip on myself, and making sure that I hold myself accountable, and don't bullshit myself.
It's good to see that though. At some point, you know, you do need to start taking it like, you know, like your health a little bit more seriously, especially later in your career. It's like it's something that definitely needs to be, you know, more of a
Absolutely.
priority for you. So I'm glad that you've been
Right.
able to take those steps.
Thank you.
Of course. So your last fight against Tafa obviously didn't really go the way you would have wanted. Did you think that anything went wrong in that fight, or you think he just caught you with a good punch?
I think he caught me with a good punch. I made a
Mm-hmm.
mistake. I did something that my coaches and I were talking about probably not doing until either later in the round or later rounds in general, which was like switching my stance on an entry in. And, as I did that, I made a big mistake of doing it while trying to throw like a loopy punch.
Okay.
And I stepped right into a nice short cross from him. He followed up with a short little uppercut, and that was all he needed to get the job done. So hats off to him for that, man. I made a mistake. He capitalized on it, and that's the way the cookie crumbles.
The name of the game sometimes, especially at
Yeah.
heavyweight. Especially at heavyweight, you make one wrong move and it's fight over. So
Yep.
definitely not the way you would have wanted it to go. But now you have a chance to make up for it in May. You know,
Absolutely.
UFC 288 in Newark. Tell me about that. Tell me what you know about your opponent, Braxton Smith. It's his first fight in the UFC. Just what are you planning for this fight?
I think you're going to see me being obviously not making the same mistake I just discussed in the Tafa fight. You're gonna see some good long striking. You know, I know he's not one of the taller guys in the UFC division now. I think he's like 5'11". I even saw some places that he's like 5'9", but I don't think he's actually that short.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out one way or another. But like I'm gonna be using my striking, trying to keep my distance, and then close distance where I feel it's gonna be optimal to potentially get it down to the ground.
Okay.
You know, I know he actually hasn't had a tremendous amount of time in the cage because most of his fights have been first round knock. All of his
Quick.
fights have been first round knockouts.
Mhm.
Have been quick. You know, and he comes forward a lot like I do, and throws heavy bombs, and when he connects, people start to go to sleep, or at the very least they're not on their feet anymore. So we'll be prepared for that.
Yeah, definitely. So it seems like you do have, you know, the background on your opponent. You know what
Yeah.
to expect and everything. So that's what my follow up was. Your opponent has 5 first round knockouts. No fight has lasted more than like 2 minutes and 3 seconds or something like that. Are you expecting to drag him into these deeper waters and test that cardio that he hasn't really shown off in his fights?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Because we know, yeah, again, that's one thing that I know where I have an advantage. I've got great cardio for a big guy, and I'm gonna put mine up against his, and see how far he can tread water.
Love to hear that. So you're training with you're not training. You've trained with and you're good friends with William Knight. Obviously, there was some bunch of controversy with his last fight. I just wanted to ask, like, you know, how's he doing, and what do you have to say to anyone that has, you know, hate for him? Because obviously, you know, it takes a lot of balls to step in the cage anytime anyone does. So,
Is for anybody that has any hate for him, you know, like there's always going to be somebody out there with an opinion, but really not much you could do about that. There's going to be people that love you, people that hate you for no reason whatsoever. You know, things that you're going to do, people are going to love, and the exact same people that there's going to be people that are going to hate you for doing the exact same thing.
yeah.
So it's not about being an overall people pleaser for everybody. You know, I'm happy to have him back in the gym, and getting some more consistent training sessions in with him. I think he's got his head in a better place now, and he had a couple of things to overcome for himself that seems like he's gotten through and gotten to put behind him. So. You know, I'm confident for him, man. He's got a fight coming up for CES about a week after my fight.
Yep.
So I'm looking to hopefully see him get back in there on that local circuit, do some damage, and then hopefully get re-signed with the UFC again, and, you know, show everybody what he's truly capable of, because the guy has a tremendous amount of natural talent and potential that I would hate to see him just waste.
Yeah, no, I mean, at his peak, he was great in the UFC. He has wins over some solid guys. It's more or less just, you know, him being able to put it all together when he steps into the cage. And, you know,
Absolutely.
and, you know, he's fighting in CES now. I know you're kind of familiar with the promotion. You go to a couple of the events and whatever. So it's good to see that he's, you know, still fighting for a decent, like, local promotion, and that, you know, he still gets to show off his skills, and he's coming back pretty quickly. I mean, he did lose that last fight, but he didn't really take much damage. So it's good to see him back in there immediately, knowing that he can be, and just good to hear that he's in a better mindset now.
Yeah, I mean, the dude can be frustrating at times, but who can't? You know, like, we all have people that we love and that drive us absolutely crazy at the same time. But I want to see the guy live up to his potential, really, because he's got a massive amount of potential, and if he really truly dedicates himself, he's got the ability to probably be a title contender at some point in the light heavyweight division.
I agree. So, speaking of fighters, back in August, you went on a trip to Europe. You went to a military base. You went and trained with some of the guys in the military. You were with Sam Alvey, Ashley Yoder, Ed Herman. Just tell me a little bit more about that experience and how that went.
That was awesome, man. And it was my first time meeting all of them.
Okay.
And we all started to get along like instantly. We had a great time.
You guys all clicked right away.
Immediate.
Nice.
Yeah. It was like a kind of an immediate bond. Nobody was really like rubbing elbow or, you know, like, you know, button heads or anything in the bad way or anything like that. It was my first time having to really get used to a massive time zone difference. Whereas everybody else seemed to adjust pretty quickly, but I had a great time out there, you know, meeting the troops, hanging out with Sam, hanging out with Ed and Ashley, and like, getting to know everybody and kind of making that bond with those guys and making those connections as well. We had a ton of fun putting on some shows and clinics for the troops, and then getting to see how they do everything and you know, like the sacrifices that these guys make and women make for our country, to, you know, being away from their own families for as long as they are and doing the things that they do to make sure that we can enjoy our freedoms and liberties and sleep safely at night, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It was cool to see. I know you I know you guys all posted about the trip, and it looked like you guys all had a great time, and like it was really something that, like, you know, it was just something different. Just like that's something not a lot of fighters are doing, and like it's just cool.
It was fun, man. It was a ton of fun. It didn't even feel like work. It was just so much fun. It was so cool. We got to take a ride in a tank and check out the Blackhawks and the Chinooks and like all the different equipment these guys use and work with on a regular basis. And it was just so educational and it felt rewarding to be able to be there and kind of bring back a little piece of home for these guys that have been away for so long. Mm-hmm. You know, and just give them a little taste and a reminder of why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. It's great that you had such a good time and that you were able to, you know, like almost like learn more about, like, you know, the military itself and like get to see the ins and outs and stuff of things that you just haven't seen before. Really nice. So
it was a ton.
We talked about this before, but you're the owner of Heavy Hitters Club in Connecticut. What aspect of coaching do you enjoy the most?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of reward that I get out of it. I like seeing things click for people. That's probably the most satisfying thing for me, when somebody's working at something, struggling with it, whether it's a specific technique that they've been trying to do or mental strategy or just, you know, like all of a sudden, you know, they're really pushing and pushing and pushing, getting frustrated, you know, borderline ready to quit, and then all of a sudden things click for them, and it's like this like mind-blowing euphoric experience for them. And I feel when I see that happen for them, it's almost as if it's happening for me as well.
That's awesome.
That's probably the most rewarding thing. That and working with the kids, actually, like seeing these kids, you know, like we work with ages 9 and up right now, but seeing these kids be like, I don't know, and like they try, like, you know, something as simple as a shrimping in jiu-jitsu, mm-hmm. and they're like struggling and like can't figure it out, and then the next day they come in and they're like, I really practiced really hard, and then all of a sudden they're shrimping up and down the mats faster than everybody else on the mats. And I was like, nice. Like, it's just like to see them have this kind of like desire to do
the work
better.
ethic. Yeah.
And to be able to to teach that to kids at such a young age, like that's something that I didn't discover for myself until I was already an adult.
Okay.
And I discovered it through martial arts. And I probably feel I don't have a military background or anything even remotely close to it, but I feel like the level of self-discipline that I taught myself through martial arts is the same, would be second only to potentially going through like basic training in the military.
I get what you're
like,
saying. Yeah.
Same level of discipline.
Yes.
And accountability for yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
And then being able to pass down that discipline and those like values down to the younger generation that comes in is just, it's just great for someone like you, especially as a coach. It really, just defines what you want to do as a coach, basically.
Big time.
Yeah. So what has been your favorite moment as a coach so far?
I'd say so far, my favorite moment was as a coach, my protege, if you will. His name's Eric Alvarado. He's going to be fighting the same night as me at Mohegan Sun, actually.
Okay.
And his last fight, he's an amateur fighter at 135. His last fight at the casino, he won by knockout in the second round, and it was just this clean, amazing shot. And then we had like a side-by-side picture of his overhand right connecting and then an overhand right connecting from one of my other fights. I'm like, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. So freaking cool.
That's great to see.
It was his first time really having to actually like cut weight because he'd been, so helping get him through that and then seeing all the, the joy and the reward and the pride in his face when he went in there and had such a dominant performance. That's been my best moment so far.
Wouldn't it be nice if you guys get, another pair of knockouts?
I said we're joking. We're on our way. We're gonna race to see who gets it first.
Yeah, definitely. That would be awesome. That would be even better than the picture itself. Is you guys doing it on the same night?
Yep.
So you fought, like we talked about this before, obviously. You fought Jon Jones back in 2008, but at the time when you fought him, did you think that he would, like, obviously it was before the UFC, before this, but did you think that he had the potential to be one of the best fighters in the world? Like, did you feel that when you were in there with him and like?
No, I before the fight, I obviously didn't know that or think that, before the fight I had in my mind of like, oh, screw this guy, I'm going to go in there and beat his ass, Little did I know that wasn't going to be the situation in any way, shape, or form. And then after the fight, I specifically remember seeing him, I think I actually recently posted a picture on my Instagram.
Yes, you did.
After that fight. And I remember saying to him, I'm like, you're going to do amazing things in this sport. I don't know if he remembers that or not, but I can remember it pretty clearly and vividly. And I'm not somebody to pass out free compliments in any way, shape, or form. But obviously, having been dealt my first loss ever in MMA by somebody like him, that I was at the time much larger than, and felt like I was going to be this or I was going to be that, and to have it go the way that it did, and probably still even to this day, that's probably the hardest I've ever been hit. Was
okay.
Even when he was, only cutting like 5 pounds to make 205.
Even when he was a light heavyweight back in his, I don't know what it was. Maybe his like second or third pro fight. It was one of his first pro fights too, right?
No, it was he was just tearing through people on the local point. I think he was like 3-0 or 4-0 when I signed up to fight him, and then by we actually fought, he had fought like 2 more times. I agreed to take the fight, and it was like 6 weeks away or 4 weeks away or something like that. And his record, literally, he racked on 2 more wins.
So he was just going. Yeah, I remember he had a lot of fights in a short period, but I didn't realize it was like he was signing up for a fight, and then before fight, he
literally was fighting like every other weekend.
God, that is crazy. That is
because he was running right through freaking people, just destroying them left and right.
Yeah.
And
damn,
lo and behold, bam, there he goes.
Yeah. All right, so this is my last one. How big of a fan are you of the sport?
I love this sport.
Okay.
The sport is absolutely life-changing to me. It's completely changed my life. I'm a huge fan of the sport, but I don't want that to be confused with the idea that I'm like a statistician where I know everything about everyone. I watch every single fight everywhere and know all the ins and outs. I don't. I
Okay.
don't. I love watching for sport. I love training for it. I love seeing what it can do to change people's lives and appreciation of, martial arts in general. But yeah, I don't. I'm not going to be able to answer like any. I'm not going to be your best pick for a trivia team.
Okay.
When it comes to stuff like that.
All right.
But I am a huge fan of the sport, and I think that everybody, to some degree or another, should at the very least train in martial arts, get hit or once or twice, wrestle, grapple, whatever it may be, and learn that you're not made out of glass, and just learn to be capable of violence so you can appreciate peace.
That's a beautiful quote. I know you always have a lot of quotes on your Instagram, and I was wondering if you were gonna hit me with a nice one, and you did. You hit me with a great quote.
And that's just truly, genuinely mine. Like I really I feel like you can't truly appreciate peace until you know what it's like to experience violence. And now that's not me trying to be like everybody should go out there and be violent or be capable of this or beat the shit out of everybody you see you come across. But it's kind of goes hand in hand with like people say, well, you can't appreciate sweet without bitter, and the heat without the cold, and just contrast. You need to be able to have something to contrast it to.
Definitely.
To really appreciate that kind of stuff.
So how familiar are you with the guys on your card?
Some
of the other fighters, like the main event, the co-main event, like those kind of guys.
Familiar enough.
Okay.
Cejudo versus Aljamain, that's going to be a freaking awesome fight to watch. I was really bummed out when they took the co-main off between Charles Oliveira and Beneil Dariush.
I was as well.
Looking forward to seeing that fight. That was going to be a great fight.
Okay.
And then, man, who else is on that card now?
Well, Gilbert Burns and Bilal Muhammad is now the replacement.
They just added that in there. So that's an interesting matchup to me, especially because Gilbert just fought Jorge in a 5-round fight. And that was an impressive.
Just 3 rounds. That one was just 3 rounds.
Oh, that was only 3. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm thinking co-main.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, but still, that was only a couple weeks ago. That wasn't that long ago. I was surprised to see that he took that, but I'm also excited to watch that as well.
Yeah, I think it'll be Gilbert's 3rd fight in the year because he already fought Magny, then he fought Jorge, and now he'll be fighting Bilal. So 3 fights in 5 months, and I actually think it's more like 3 and 4 months if you actually do the dates and whatever. So it's very impressive from Gilbert.
He's going to be he's setting himself up for a very active year.
Yeah, he wants another title shot now that Leon's the champion. That's definitely what he's going for. He knows now that if Usman's not there, he can really make that push and get another title shot now that it's not going to be a rematch.
Right.
Mm-hmm. All right, Parker, that's it. I really appreciate everything, man. Happy birthday, and
Thank you, man.
I'll see you in person, hopefully, for UFC 288. I'll be there in attendance, and hopefully
I'll be there.
Hopefully I get to see you. Hopefully you get that W, man. And it's great to be able to talk to you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Recording stopped.
Thank you, man.